Welcome to another IWCS tutorial video. This tutorial is going to be about the iriSelect interface. We're going to split this video up into 6 parts, each one defining one of the iriSelect 6 features. I hope you enjoy. Now, the first feature that I want to go through is the ability to have visual cues on your external radio's transmissions and receiving from them. If you look at the interface of the iriSelect, you will see that it has 4 buttons here at the bottom, and it has 2 LED status lights for each one. Each one of these buttons and status lights correspond to one external radio within your intercom setup. When you receive transmissions from these external radios, your RX LED status light will light up orange on the corresponding channel on your iriSelect. And therefore you can then respond to that particular radio by using the push to talk on your iriSelect, thereby allowing the green TX transmitting LED status light to light up. And you can pass your transmission to that particular radio. So it's just a really good option to give you visual cues and control over more than one external radio within your intercom setup. The second feature that the iriSelect has is the ability to adjust its display light intensity according to the ambient light around it at any given time. Now, this adjustment happens automatically via a small light sensor at the top of your iriSelect, which measures at any given time the ambient light, and thereafter adjusts the display light accordingly to always give you a comfortable view of your iriSelect interface. Now, the third feature on your iriSelect is only applicable for later software versions. Now, the third feature is that you can completely turn off the display lights on your iriSelect. Now, this would be viable in a situation where you are functioning in complete darkness and are, for example, using night vision goggles. You don't want any ambient light to mess with your visuals. Now, you turn off the lights on the display by holding the mode button down and keeping it held down until the lights go off. If you then use a PTT at any point during dark mode, you will have a small LED light signal telling you the PTT is activated, but it will be on the lowest intensity and for a very short time. Now, to turn on the lights in the display again, you do the same thing. You hold the mode button down for a couple of seconds until the lights come back on. Now, one last feature to this is that it actually remote controls all the lights in your intercom setup. So by turning off the lights on your iriSelect, everything will go dark. And by turning it on again, everything will light up again. So a handy feature. Now, feature 4 concerns the mode button. An iriSound without an iriSelect operates by the maxim of everybody can hear everybody. Now, there might be some situations where that is not desired. You might want to group your users, giving some transmitting or some receiving rights depending on the situation. Now, this setup or grid is what we would call a user-defined grid. Now, this grid setup is defined pre-purchase, and iriSelect can store up to 9 of these predefined grids, which one toggles through using the mode button. When you have 0 on the display, you are in the standard open system mode, and by toggling through, you then have access to your different user-defined grids. Now, the 5th feature you have on your iriSelect is the ability to adjust the sensitivity of your AVAD. AVAD means Adaptive Voice Activity Detection, and is the difference between background noise and your squelch limit that opens up to communication. As a standard, the iriSelect has a squelch limit of 30% over background noise. So you need to speak 30% louder than what the AVAD is measuring as your background noise in order to open the squelch. There might be some situations where you want something different than that. For example, if you're speaking very softly and you just want to whisper to open your squelch. That won't be 30% louder than the background noise. That might only be 10% louder. So then you're going to want to adjust your AVAD in order to be more sensitive to your voice in order to open the squelch. Now you adjust this with your iriSelect by pressing the mode button down, holding it down, and then pressing one of the 4 PTT buttons in order to change the sensitivity. Now the 10% sensitivity, the most sensitive, will be on the 1. The standard of 30% will be on 2. And then for higher sensitivities of 50 or 70%, you can go to 3 or 4. Now an important thing to remember is when you turn off your system, then your system will remember the last setting that you were in. So if you power on again and are having problems opening your squelch, you might want to look at what setting your AVAD is in with your iriSelect. This brings us to the 6th feature of our iriSelect. This feature is the ability to show an error code which will tell you about an error somewhere within your intercom setup. There are 2 types of errors that the iriSelect can display. There are B errors and there are E errors. A B error is a wireless error, and an E error is a hardware error. An example of a wireless error would be a user, for example, stepping out of wireless range. The user himself will receive an audible error message in his headset that he is out of range, that he is disconnected. And the rest of the crew will be updated to the situation by the iriSelect on its display showing a B followed by a number which corresponds to that user's channel or port. Same thing with a hardware error. For example, this could be a broken cable. The iriSelect will display an E followed by a number which corresponds to that broken cable's port or channel. One last thing that you want to be aware of is that these error messages will continue to blink until the mode button is pressed. Well, that was the iriSelect tutorial video. If you have any questions or there's anything else you'd like to know about, please leave a comment and we will try to cater to that as best as we can. Thanks for watching. See you next time.